So there's a couple of ways we can do this. I'll show you one that's fairly easy, and this will allow you to modify existing scripts that may have this code. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable here, and we're going to call this text list. And after we process the paragraph, we're going to check that paragraph to see if it has any tables in it. So we're going to say text list equals pgf get text. This is a built-in method, and what we want to do is tell it what we want to look for in this text. So we're going to say constants fti tbl anchor. So this is going to see if this paragraph has any tables anchors in it, and those table anchors will have tables as part of them. So what we can do here is we'll make a loop in here. So we'll use a count variable and an I variable, and if there are any tables, this text list will be a list of those table anchors. So we can say count equals text list length, and then we'll process those tables, one or more tables, and we'll do that with a for loop. So we'll say if I equals 0, I is less than count, and then we will increment that value, I plus equals 1, and then we will process that table. Now we'll add this later, but let's just make sure we're on the right track here. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this number to the console if we can. Let's see if it'll write. Sometimes numbers won't write to the console, but let's try it. So what we should get here is we should get 0 for all the paragraphs except the table anchor. So we've got the console cleared. Let's run this. Yeah, it's not gonna write. Now if you try to write something to the console and won't write, you can actually use a different function for that. You can try this error. Now the only thing is I think we have to add a return to it manually here. So let's try R and then /n. So that'll be a return and a line feed. And let's see if that gives us numbers here. Let's try that. Let's save it. Go back to FrameMaker, clear the console, and let's run it. Yeah, we do get that. Okay, so the main flow 1 paragraph has no tables. The main flow 2 has no tables. We get down here to the table anchor, and that does have 1 table in it. So that's what we're getting here. It's recognizing, oh, there's a table anchor in there. Let's show the text symbols. And so that's where the 1 comes from. And then the main flow 3 doesn't have any tables. So now that we've got that, we can do something with it. So let's go back to our code. And we don't need to show that anymore. So for each one of these table anchors, we can call a function to actually process that table. So let's make up a function name. We'll say process tbl. And what we need to pass in is the text list and the current member we're processing. So that's what the I is. And then we want the obj property. And the obj property gives us the actual table object. And then we want to pass in the doc object in case we need it. So now let's rough this out down here. Let's call this function process tbl, and we're going to get a table object here, and we're going to get the doc object here. And let's test this to make sure this is good. So what we'll do here is we'll go in here and we'll say alert tbl tag. So this will show us the table format that's applied. Now this is only going to get called for a table that has paragraphs, so this isn't going to stop on every paragraph. So let's clear the console and let's run this. And so now if you look at the console, we hit main flow 1, main flow 2, we hit the table anchor paragraph, that gets processed, but then we check for tables, and it tells us that there is a table in there, and it's formatted with border blue, and then we get the last paragraph. So now that we have that, we can dig into this table and process the paragraphs in order.